Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. This one is going to be kind of scattershot. Just want to look at some awesome, interesting, amazing baseball cards from my collection, the majority of which I have never shown off here on the channel in its now nearly 5-year history. I have been loving and enjoying the hobby as much as ever in recent weeks and months, but I've had very little time of late for YouTube, either content creation or consumption compared to normal. Just been very, very busy on the work front and the personal life front outside the hobby. But I did have a little bit of time free tonight, and so figured I'd hop on, shoot a video, and just look at some amazing cardboard. And we'll start with the two that you see up in the background here as I rambled through the intro, a pair of on-card Dom DiMaggio autographs. I may have shown one of these on the channel in the past. I honestly don't recall, but going through the ongoing process here of condensing my collection, minimizing and reducing the size of the collection that I've built over the last 18 plus years now as an adult, I came to the realization that I had no less than 2 on-card Dom DiMaggio autos. And as much as I like and admire the man, I don't need a pair of autographs of his in my collection, especially as I'm trying to reduce. So I've decided that I'm going to sell this one here on the right. Beautiful card. This is from the Fleer Red Sox 100th anniversary set. Which is exactly what it sounds like, a small release that came out in 2001, back when Fleer still had a baseball license, and it's entirely dedicated to my hometown team, the Red Sox. If memory serves, it was around a 100-card release, and then it had a couple of insert sets as well, including a small checklist of these beautiful on-card autographed inserts. Dom DiMaggio here, I believe, is the only one that I ever ended up with in the collection, and I love this card. If I didn't have a second DiMaggio auto, I'd be keeping it. But out of the two, if pressed to keep only one, I am definitely going to go with the one on the left, which is a Topps Heritage Real One auto, also on card and beautiful. And my reasoning here, I have much more of a connection to the Topps Heritage product line and to the 1953 Topps set, which this is kind of based off of. And so this is a great fit for the PC, much more so than the Fleer Red Sox 100th. In fact, I just landed an on-card Gordie Howe at my most recent card show. That kind of pairs up nicely with that Dom. I didn't think to drag it out for the video, but yeah, so the card on the left will be staying. The card on the right, I will likely be listing on eBay. Unless one of my hobby buddies out there is interested in that, just reach out, send me a message, and I'm sure we can work out a fair price on that one. And then moving on from the DiMaggios, I just kind of have like a hodgepodge of pickups here. First of all, a few additions to my 1990 Topps buyback set. So I've been showing a lot of buybacks recently, but the focus of those has largely been my buyback Franken set. But that is not the only buyback project that I've worked on over the years. And beginning in 2017, so 8, almost 9 years ago now, I started on the endeavor of completing a 1990 Topps set, the first set that I ever collected in my favorite set of all time, all in buyback format. Now, I'm not sure this is even possible. I'm pretty convinced there are some cards in the checklist that don't exist in buyback format, or at least they've never surfaced once in the many years that I've been at this. But I still keep plugging away nonetheless. And in my most recent COM-C shipment, I got a handful of these and want to show them off here on the channel and then get them put away in the binder. This one is a common, Tom Lawless for the Blue Jays, and paid like under $1 for this, but so rewarding. Pursuing a set with a lot of scarcity, like a buyback complete set like this, really kind of reframes the hobby a little bit. And it's really the only way that I'm ever going to be excited to find a common, everyday Tom Lawless card. But yeah, my search is over after many years. And after this video, he'll be going into the 1990 Topps buyback binder in slot 49. The rest of the cards that I landed are bigger names, certainly more familiar to most of you. Got the second year Randy Johnson here. Love the image on this one with those great stadium seats, blue stadium seats in the background and everything kind of matching the border. I believe I already have a copy of this in the binder, but I'll look to see if maybe this one will go in the Franken set at number 431. And if not, I have a third buyback project that this one will be absolutely perfect for. So regardless, this one will find a home in my collection. Love the big unit. In fact, in my last video prior to this, I showed off a buyback version of his rookie card from the year prior in 1989, and I'm glad to have another copy of the second year to put with it. Next up, not a Hall of Famer, but there are many who think he should be, Lou Whitaker, the double play partner of Alan Trammell for all those years on the Detroit Tigers, and really pumped to have this one. All of these are 2017 Topps Rediscover buybacks. Although there were buyback programs from Topps prior to 2017, I don't believe any of them included sets as recent as 1990. So you're only really going to find these for the most part in 2017 and newer. There may have been a handful the year prior in the 2016 buyback program, but the great majority of these will be Rediscover Topps buybacks. So great card there. I love the image. And even though the purple border is like striking here and really doesn't fit, it just kind of warms my heart. I'm a big fan of that 1990 release, largely for nostalgic reasons. The next three are really, really tough. These are more well-known players, or certainly as much as the last two guys anyway, and they've been incredibly difficult to track down. This first one, again, about 7 to 8 years of searching, finally landed the Kirk Gibson. Shout out to my buddy BK over at Mac Wax Stacks. How about that mustache game on Kirk here? Of course, not long off of his famed postseason home run, and that may be one of the reasons this one is as popular as it is. This is also a blue foil buyback, which is a much scarcer type of buyback, even though exact print runs are not known for these or release numbers are not known for these. I was really excited to find this. Could not smash buy it now on ComC fast enough when this surfaced. Didn't even fuss around trying to make an offer or anything like that. Just had to secure this. It is so fulfilling to, get a slot marked off or filled in this binder after like years of anticipation and waiting and not knowing, honestly, if some of these even exist in buyback formats. One of the reasons I love these projects, even though they can be frustrating at times. Next up, this one is just absolutely gorgeous. Darryl Strawberry, what a card. And in this case, the borders are a perfect team color match with that orange and blue. Amazing photograph, great cropping. I love everything about this card. And this one will be going right into the binder at hero number 600. Those even hundreds, which all had big name players back in the day. I almost caved and bought an archive signature auto of this that was available for probably a year on eBay, but it was like almost $100. And more than once, I nearly, in a moment of weakness, smashed buy it now, just so I could free it from its lucite case and put it into the binder. But I'm glad, I held out, tried to be patient, and I got this at a much more reasonable price, this non-autographed Rediscover Topps buyback. And then lastly, on the 1990 front, the card that I was most excited to get, I let one of these that was an archive signature auto slip away probably 4 or 5 years ago now, because I didn't want to pay the asking price, which was around $200. Eventually, somebody else snatched it up, and I've kind of regretted that ever since, because it is one of the bigger names that's been missing from my 1990 set build. And then probably 3 months ago now, a non-autographed standard buyback went up on ComC, and I paid up for this. I will admit it. You guys can let me have it in the comments. But again, when you're searching for a card for years and years and years, in between even one example showing up, I'm not sure, how much you can overpay within reason. So I believe I paid, again, you can laugh at me below. I don't mind at all. I've got thick skin. I believe I paid around $75 for this 1990 Topps card. And it is Don Mattingly, Donnie Baseball. Another fantastic image here, and I love the way the borders look on this card. And another player who is a hero number, much like Darryl Strawberry, at number 200. It sounds crazy to say with all of the amazing cards I've picked up over the last year, but this is easily one of the most rewarding finds for me of 2025, period, on the hobby front. So, so grateful, and I will be beyond ecstatic when this video ends and I can file Donnie Baseball away in his slot in the binder. And with that little grouping, I am now, half a dozen or so cards closer to maybe one day in the future completing that insane buyback set. Let's move on now, get away from buybacks for a bit. I have one graded card that I picked up maybe a month or so ago. Haven't really found a reason to work it into a video, so I figured I would just chuck it in the pile here. One of my favorite modern parallels, Independence Day, in Topps flagship every year from 2018 to present, and always numbered to 76. I was able to secure recently the 2021 Topps Mookie Betts. Now, I will say in all fairness, this is maybe my least favorite card design from Topps of the 21st century, and it is almost certainly my least favorite Independence Day design, but I really, really love this parallel. Mookie is one of my favorite modern players to collect, and I somewhat, almost accidentally, have like a little run of his indie cards going. So I do have his 2018, which is incredibly tough, the first year of those. Also have his 2019 and 2020. So this was the next one in line. Had this on my eBay watch list for quite a while, and eventually made an offer that was only a little bit over what grading costs these days, to be honest with you. And seller thankfully accepted my offer, and I got copy 28 of 76 in my favorite grade for modern as well, PSA Fine 9. And of course, this was issued coming right off the 2021 Dodgers World Series Championship, which was the second of Mookie's career. And amazingly, he now has 4 World Series championships, 1 with Boston and 3 with LA, and was great to kind of secure this prior to the MLB postseason, where Mookie and the Dodgers went on that historic run and captured their 2nd consecutive World Series. So grateful to have that one, even though it's not my favorite design of the parallel. I've got just a few more cards here. Try to keep this under 20 minutes. This next one is from a hobby pal. So I meet up each summer. I've been lucky enough to each of the past maybe 4 or almost maybe even 5 summers now with my buddy Josh, aka Peeps here on YouTube, or Peeps Wax Packs. The personality on YouTube that I have met in person more than any other, and somebody who I communicate with almost daily and consider a great friend at this point. And during our meetups, we always exchange a little cardboard, of course. And this past summer, Josh gifted this to me, and I've been long overdue in showing it off on the channel. This is a Pro Cards minor league card of Coach Sam Hairston of the Birmingham Barons. Now, what's awesome about this, Sam was a former Negro League player way back in the day for the Birmingham Barons, and I want to say the Indianapolis Clowns as well. And he was a bridge player, and I know that's a topic that Josh is very interested in, same as myself, meaning he played in both the Negro Leagues and Major League Baseball. His MLB career was very short. I think he played part of just 1 season maybe for the White Sox. So he does not have, that I'm aware of, like a playing era card available. But Josh, knowing that I'm into this kind of theme alongside him and some other collectors that I know, he gifted me with this fantastic Coach card. And this is going to go right into my Negro Leagues Z Folio album, the latest edition of that. And I love this like very 1990s spiral notebook design that Pro Cards went with here. So just a great card. I love the story behind it, that this man never got a baseball card, a true baseball card, when he was a player, but received one many years later as a coach. I wonder if he ever saw this, during his lifetime and what he thought of it. If he did, I imagine he must have just been tickled pink that he was finally included on an official baseball card. So Josh, thank you very much for that gift. That is a complete home run and perfect fit for that portion of my collection, and will be going right into that binder at the conclusion of the video here. And then on the Negro Leagues binder front, let's stick on that for another minute here. I've been picking up some different versions of this Josh Gibson. This was from 2024 Topps Update Baseball. He got his first ever Topps card. I did a whole episode about this, maybe 5 or 10 videos back now. Probably my favorite card of 2024, just because of the history and meaning behind it. And I've got some really big copies of it, including the Superfractor 1/1. But lately, I've been trying to scoop some really cheap versions to go into the Z Folio and do kind of a whole 2-page spread of different versions of this parallel. And this one here, I think, is called like a purple foil board. It is numbered pretty high to $7.99, but this was like a $5 card, maybe $4 or $5, and I think is going to look great, bringing kind of a splash of color onto that page. And I will be showing this Z Folio off. I'm just waiting for it to be full so that I can do an episode and kind of unveil the entire thing. And 2 of the key cards that you're going to see when I get to that episode are amazing on-card autos. Somehow I've had these in my possession for maybe a year or 2 now, and I've never really found a way to work them into a video or show them off. These are 2 of the most prized autographs in my entire collection. And the first one is a man that I admire so much, Buck O'Neil. So these are from the Fleer Greats of the Game release, the 2001 release specifically. These are on-card autos, and they included a bunch of Negro Leagues players in this set on their teams and with their jerseys from the Negro Leagues, which I think is awesome. And some of them who are still alive actually were included in the on-card autographs in this set. So this is beyond cool. You can tell Buck, signed this as an old man, getting a little squiggly there with the penmanship, but he is someone, if you're not familiar with the personality of Buck O'Neil, who he was as not just a baseball player, but really a baseball lifer, I would highly recommend a book that I read probably 2 years ago now by Joe Posnanski that is all about traveling around the United States with Buck O'Neil. And reading that book, it just made me admire this man even more than I already did. And for him to have an on-card auto that exists out there is beyond cool. Pardon the sticker on the back of this top loader. I haven't taken this out from the top loader that it was shipped in, but you can see this is actually a pack-issued auto with the congratulatory language on the back. And this is the kind of special card that I think is kind of a level beyond a normal baseball card in my collection. And even if someday in the future I sold off my entire collection and kept maybe 100 or 200 meaningful cards, this Buck O'Neil would be included in that just because of my admiration for the man. And the other Negro Leagues auto that I have to show here that's also going into the Z-Folio album is just as impressive as that one, if you ask me. One of the most infamous names to make the transition from the Negro Leagues to Major League Baseball, the great Larry Doby. How about that? An on-card Larry Doby autograph. And this is insane to me. I've talked in prior videos, and many have over the years, about how cheap Larry Doby is compared to Jackie Robinson, even though they played in the same era, were very similarly successful players, both Hall of Famers, both groundbreakers. Jackie, of course, in the American League and Larry Doby in the National League, vice versa. But both firsts, both groundbreakers, both important players. But yeah, for whatever reason, Doby just does not command the same respect as Robinson. I cannot imagine, and I know obviously these aren't equal in the sense that Jackie Robinson passed away long before Larry Doby did, and he would not have been around in 2001 to sign a card, but all things being equal, it's amazing how much cheaper Larry Doby autographs are compared to Jackie Robinson autos, which are just off the charts. And so yeah, this feels like a really important card. Again, this is the official pack-issued version. This is not like an in-person or through the mail, even though those would be cool as well. And I'm just honored to have this. It's a card that feels, larger than the hobby and more important than the hobby to me. And I'm honored to be able to slide this and the Buck O'Neil into that Z-Folio. I am going to keep them right in the album. It's a Z-Folio album, so they still get protected in penny sleevers before they're filed away in there. And they'll be on a 2-page spread that includes all of the cards from this 2001 Fleer Great set that feature, bridge players or Negro League players. So 2 amazing autos there. And then we'll finish out with one of the biggest Negro Leagues related cards that I've picked up in the recent past, really in the past few years. Did a video not too long ago on this one as well, where I featured this one anyway. And it's the Panini Prizm 2025, just been out maybe a month or two now. Josh Gibson got the gold vinyl, which is the equivalent of the Superfractor. Now, I'm not going down the rabbit hole of trying to get all the different versions of this card and parallels. I'm not that type of a collector anymore. There are easily many dozen versions of this card, and I just don't have the energy, patience, room, or really budget to devote to chasing cards like that. But, having the gold vinyl 1-of-1, there were a couple of other versions that I did want to track down that are also gold and very tough and very low numbered. And I'm happy to announce that I've been able to acquire both of them over the past few weeks, and I've got them both in hand now. The first one is a Pandora parallel. These are like an exclusive set that they put out where all the base cards have this crazy technology. They are silver and they are numbered to, I think, 199. And then in each set, you get a small handful, maybe 4 or 5, of the gold Pandoras, and these are numbered to just 4. So check this out. I have here the gold Pandora Josh Gibson from 2025 Panini Prizm. Just fantastic shine on this card. I love the way these pop. I have these of a couple of other players. They've done these, I think, 2 years running now in Panini Prizm. And of course, who knows what the fate is of Panini going forward. Now that Topps has kind of taken away some of their, or Fanatics, I should say, has taken away some of their most important licenses. But I love this card. Not easy to find. You kind of have to snatch these up shortly after release. This is copy 1 of 4 here. So I have the 1 of 1 and then copy 1 of 4 on the gold Pandora. I believe this is the only one of these that I've seen hit eBay and was able to work out what I thought was a really fair price with the seller. And then lastly, this is kind of the classic when it comes to Panini Prizm. In the same way that Topps Chrome, the most popular card for many people, is the gold refractor numbered to 50. In the world of Panini, the most popular Prizm card is the gold Prizm numbered to 10. And it took a long time for one of these to surface. I saw the gold vinyl 1 of 1 and the gold Pandora numbered to 4 pop up on eBay before even one of the 10 copies of this surfaced. But finally one showed up, and thankfully it was from a very reasonable seller and was able to secure this one as well. Look at the etching. You know, you can really tell on the card, the Pandora card, it's a little bit busy. So some of the etching and fine detail is kind of lost due to the crazy background. But on these standard gold numbered to 10, you really see the beautiful job that Panini does with these shiny cards. Look at this chest protector and the etching that they've done in here. I mean, just incredible. I can't state enough how fantastic a card this is. Very limited, again, being to just 10 copies. I have copy 2 of 10, but I will say, if this is a card that interests you, you can get a parallel that looks every bit as beautiful as this, but just isn't this scarce. Like maybe a regular silver Prizm that isn't numbered. You can get one of these for like under $5, maybe even $2 or $3. So if you are a Josh Gibson fan and you want a really nice, shiny, beautiful, modern card to represent him in your collection, you could do a lot worse than any of these 2025 Panini Prizm parallels. So that's it. We're going to stop it there. This has been one of my longest videos in a while, but again, I've had so much passion for the hobby lately and so many amazing cards coming in and just kind of a lack of time to share them all with you. So since I had a little bit tonight, figured we'd go kind of extended, do a longer form video and just look at some amazing cardboard. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're all enjoying the hobby in general. There's just so much out there, even amongst all the drama and hobby news and negativity. There's just so much to love about this hobby. And I think if you can just carve your own path, stick to what you enjoy, and kind of tune out some of the noise and drama, there's just, it's a great opportunity to kind of learn more about the sports you love and participate in a hobby with so many great individuals and such fascinating history. So thank you if you stuck with me for 23 minutes. I'll be back soon, as you know, with some more content. And until then, take care, everybody.